Test, test. Hello, hello. Test, test. Audio should be all good. Hey, what is up, all? I don't think my audio is working in Discord. Let me test that. Hey, hey. Thanks for hanging out, guys. Good to see you three there. I've also gone live on the YouTube. Sometimes people are getting better quality. Let me know if this is better quality than last time, because I'm screen sharing rather than virtual cameraing. Yeah, so welcome to another weekly stream. You know the deal by now, but anyone who's just joining in, we do these every single week, and I'm just showing my updates to this shared project. This project is totally open source and free for anyone to use for what they like, profiting or not. You know, if you want to just play around, if you want to use it as a template for something to make some actual productions with, you're totally free to do that. And this project is just aiming to lower that barrier of entry for jumping into Unreal. And for me, on the virtual production side, I'm looking very much at Composure and using our compositing toolkit stuff, because it can be pretty confusing, but we're looking at getting these projects together to allow people to just jump in, input their media, see themselves in 3D worlds, and then get experimenting, really. So last week, it's an awesome turnout and really cool stream. Got some really good Q&A going on in the second half of it, and I was just showing off my, what was I showing off? I actually can't remember, but we went through loads of stuff. Oh yeah, it was the masking system with like a sense of depth of field to it. A little bit technical difficulties in the first half of that, but about 20 minutes in, it kind of gets going. But this time, at the end of last session, we kind of looked at a multi-cam kind of comp setup. So I'm just going to run through like. But also, just by the way, I think I'm going to start doing. So we've got the first release of this out. Whenever I do a new release, I'm going to make it as a new level, I think. So this is where you'll find the multicam stuff that I'm adding to this sort of release. I'm going to add it to a new level. I've got a level for the comp, and then I've got a level for the environment, and that's just all here in this kind of persistent level setup, which I've kind of been through in previous streams. So kind of, I think I'm going to do it like this, like little kind of expansion packs, a little folder with some new kind of features in it. And then this week it is this multicam kind of thing. So let me just show you like the idea behind it. Say you have like a podcast and you've got two real world cameras filming the same talent. So imagine these are the real world cameras. You got a camera 1 and a camera 2. And say you want different media feeds for each of these cameras. So for my example, I've just used this cat and this talent, but you would essentially have two shots of the same subject. So I was just doing this for kind of being sure that I'm seeing the right camera. So imagine this is camera 1 and camera 2 on the same subject, basically. So, you know, if you had a podcast and you wanted to do two shots on the same talent and just switch between those, that's the idea. But the difficulty with this is like, how do you trigger the kind of switching? Because it's quite tricky to get into Composure and stuff like that. So let me just demo this. So you just got your first camera there, and then you switch to camera 2. So you can see that the Composure planes are being hidden when it switches. And you know, if you had two shots of the same talent there, that would very nicely kind of switch between them. So this, I've been going through quite a lot of thought and processes and things with doing this, and it's gone through from being really really complex to actually, in the end, a really really simple solution. So what I found is that you can kind of have multiple planes like this running at not much extra cost. So I was looking at like making sure these are showing and hiding, but if you check out my FPS at the top, what we're looking at, 36, 37, and here we're at like, you know, still the same area. So I realized that it's not actually much of a additional cost to have these talent planes just running. And that's where I actually found quite a lot of difficulty, is in making Composure pause and play or show and hide these Composure elements like through sequencer or something. So you might think this is a serious bodge, the actual solution that I found, but it works, you know. And what is the whole world of programming and developing and 3D visuals if not a load of bodges and workarounds and things? Like, starting to realize that. So what I found is that I was struggling to get into this kind of how do you access this in a sequencer and actually disable that. But then because I found that the FPS is the same, what I found is you can just do, because of our video plane placement, again another win for like the video plane placement actor, what you can do is you can actually just like set this scale to be 0, and that just obviously makes the actor disappear. So, you know, this is all still active in Composure, which at first I thought was a negative, but especially if you've only got 2 shots going on, there's literally like no FPS, no performance hit there. So weirdly enough, what I'm actually just doing is just scaling that plane. Just trying to think, instead of totally recreating this, I'll just kind of show you my process of what I did. Actually, you know what, since it's a fairly quiet one, obviously everyone's really open to jump in and ask questions and see exactly how, not just how this is done, but just ask questions in general about any virtual production, compositing, Composure stuff, anything about the toolkit. But yeah, since we've got a little bit of time, it's a fairly quiet one. I'm actually just gonna recreate this on the go. So I'm actually using source control just locally at the moment. I'm just making branches. I don't know if anyone's come across just using something like GitHub just locally. It's really really useful because you can make a commit and you can basically make saves of your project. So you can like make a commit, make a load of saves, and then or make a commit, make a load of changes, and then you can always revert back to different versions of the project. So might do a stream on source control just in itself, because it's incredibly cool, incredibly useful, even if you're just doing it locally. It's like a way to save different states of your project, basically. So yeah, if people aren't familiar with that, it's literally a lifesaver for, you know, complex Unreal Engine projects and things. So I'm just going to pick up this. This is like the last like save I had before we got there. What am I on? Let's see if that will open up again. Literally another win for this source control stuff is if you save like a version of your project before something like this happens, then you can always revert. Okay, this is there's a problem I was finding earlier. I thought I saved back to a version before this, but potentially not. So instead, you know what, I'll just go to this version of the project, the most up-to-date one, and I'll just run through maybe adding another sequence and another video playing or something. But it's just one of those funny scenarios where just the solution was a way simpler thing than I've been trying to do this whole time. Just because I thought it was like super essential to make sure you're hiding these planes, but you can just scale them down to 0 and it's like the same effect. So yeah, why don't we just try and do this with a camera 3 as well, just for, you know, argument's sake. What I'd do is actually just copy and paste these. Let's get a new bit of media for this. Let's see what I've got on my spout filters. There, that would be good. That would be good. So this is going to go all flashy at first because it's competing for the same video plane placements. So I should be able to disable this one. Okay. Same render target out as well. So yeah, I'm gonna start by like just copy and pasting all of those. It's gonna be flashy at first, but so we've got a new spout source coming in, and then we need to change the output as well. So we can go here. I'm just gonna make a copy of this render target. This is probably why it's flashing. So cam 3, nice. So that's got its own render target going out. And we can keep an eye on performance the whole time. I know I've been sat around this 37 area, so even with another media plate in there, all running at the same time, not much for performance impact, which is really good. So now I'm gonna copy this kind of key to plane material, which is gonna do my in CG version. And I'm just gonna set that render target as the input here. I like grab it here, pop it in. Cool. And then this needs the same render target in here as well. So I can just use that same, paste in. And this is going to need a new video plane transform. Cool, good to know that source control might be a good thing to look into. It's really easy to set up just locally, and there's like some confusing commands, but just there's a couple things that even I don't have massive understanding of GitHub and source control, but yeah, there's quite a simple way to use it in a really useful way. So yeah, we could jump into that in a week or two. So yeah, this is going to need its own video plane. So just drag in a new video plane placement. And like, let's say this is camera 3, so it's going to go over here. Something like that. And then we got this key material that's going to go on the video plane. So this would be a little more clear if I actually had 3 different shots of the same studio, but that's the idea. You're getting different shots of the same studio. I'm just using these different textures to make it really clear that they are different. They are different shots. So that's got that video play now, so I can go back into this here and assign that. Yeah, that'll do. So now we need like we need another sequence for that shot. So I'm just going to copy and paste this shot 1 because it's got near enough all the stuff that I need. Again, this will all be in the next release of the shared project, so you know, you can grab all this stuff. Then when this sequence opens up, I'll show you the screens, but we just got the camera tracked. So I can jump into this, make a camera 3, keyframe that transform. Just do some slight movement. Just something very subtle. And just make that loop by just copying that first keyframe, pasting it over here. Just see how much that moves. That's very good. That will do. Maybe just like make it a bit more subtle. Don't like that. Just to the side slightly. I just think it's nice to have just like a slight bit of movement. Just for that feel. Cool, so that's our camera 3 shot that we got there. And okay, so you're gonna laugh, but literally this is all, I've been going through lots of quite complex ways of showing and hiding these media plates. And if you really do want to do that, I'll show you how to do that. But for me, it led to the Composure, it led to a load of problems basically. Like the Composure plane would hide itself a little bit late when you change camera. So, you know, changing from shot to shot, it would actually have both of the talent shots in the same place at the same time, which obviously is not what you want. So I found it easier, and as I say, barely any performance hit, to have all of these just running. And what I'm actually going to do is just scale all the ones I want to hide to 0 when you enable this. So you just got your transform. So again, if you can't find that, you can go track transform. And yeah, I'm just going to set all these to 0. And you know, if this interpolation is like constant, instead of, you know, fading from one to the other, if it's just switching, then which it will because it's queued right on the first frame of the sequence, then you'll just get a straight disappearance of that plane. It's not going to shrink or anything, it's just going to go from scale 100 to scale 0 in the matter of one frame. So it's such a bodge, but you know, it works. And then this screen wants to be 0 as well. And just to make sure this, if this is coming from one sequence where this was set to 0, we now need to set it to just be the transform that we've set it to be. So just keyframe that transform. So literally, that's what I've been doing to switch cameras. Now we need to make sure this spaceman disappears in all the other sequences that we've got. So just gonna make sure, you can see she's like scaled and really small here. At first I was looking at just hiding it behind masked elements, just to hide the composure element away. And then I realized that a nicer way to do it is just to scale it to 0. It's just completely gone then. So I'll just fix that on this sequence. Cool. So making sure Spaceman is gone from this sequence. Here he is. So you gotta watch out, because even if it's invisible in this instance, that's because the video plane placement material is one-sided. So it's going to be transparent from here, but it's still going to be visible here. And then when you look at it through the Composure comp, I think you'll find that the dude is still visible. That's because I haven't set up the transform pass yet. So that's reminded me to do that. Let's finish off what we were doing, which was just making sure he is hidden from this sequence, which is shot 2. So, scale 0. Cool. So I think that's all of them. Have I done all of them? Shot 2. Intro shot. Video plane placement, track, transform, scale, 0. Obviously, if you're getting up to more and more shots, it gets more and more of like a manual labor process. But if you got two shots, it's pretty simple. If you got a camera 1 and a camera 2, then you could build off of, you know, more camera 1 and camera 2 shots just by copying that sequence out. So it's fairly manual if you're doing three cameras on one talent, but maybe unlikely that you would do that anyway. So that should be my sequences sorted. But my talent 3 is not part of my comp yet. So we haven't got an input for it here yet. Quite easy to add another talent here. I've just been doing it with another over node. You could use a multiply as well, but I don't know if there's much difference apart from this like alpha slot. But we basically just need to make a new texture parameter for talent 3, placement 3. So I'm going to rename that, and that should hook it up automatically because it picks it up by name. And we can just do an over. So what that's doing is basically my cat plus my lady plus my spaceman, and they are all laid over the CG, and they've just got this foreground mask of the desk. So that's what's happening here. That's all being composited into here. And then see, these are all part of my comp now, which is good. So now I just need to trigger this level sequence that I made. I go here and find it here. Got shot 3. And something that I've gone through in a previous live stream is sequence switching. I've made this blueprint that just sits in the level, and it just takes in this array of level sequences. You can add as many as you want. I think you can add as many as you want. It might be 3 max at the moment. But if you look at the stream, you can see how you can add more. But level sequence shot 3. You can just add that to this here. And then in this blueprint, I've got a custom event that you should be able to call, which is sequence 3. And that will just do a load of really nice tidy stuff to make sure the sequence is playing properly. And what you can do is just call this sequence 3 just in your level blueprint or whatever. So it's just one node as opposed to making all of this for every sequence you want to make. So I just need to, I think I need to drag this in, but maybe not even, because it's being referenced by this blueprint. And then in the level blueprint, I can just copy what I've got here basically, which is, well, I'll show you what it's doing. If you've got this selected, you can make a reference to it from the level blueprint. And then you can call the custom event off of this, which was called sequence 3, right? So it's calling function off of the BP animation selector of sequence 3. I can hook that in here. I want to change the keybind. I'm going to make this the 4 key, because I have the 3 key to play the first sequence again. So that should be all hooked up. Let's see what happens. So intro sequence plays automatically. If I press the 1 key, I'm just going to another shot on that first camera 1. Press the 2 key, I've got camera 2. And 3 key, oh, that's that first sequence again. 4 key, I've got my got my next piece of talent. So that's overall kind of worked. This ghosting is a little bit funny. Could look at that. But all in all, that is, you know, switching the different cameras for the different button presses. That's the gist of kind of what I wanted to cover. weirdly simple solution in that it is just a matter of scaling those media plates to 0 and you know, getting 47 odd frames per second. I haven't even got any DLSS running or anything on this, so apparently kind of 50 is quite a good aim for broadcast. Obviously any higher is good, but we got a lot of real-time compositing and stuff going on here, so I'm pretty happy with 50. And yeah, we got 3 shots with different media feeds coming in. You could have 3 cameras in a studio and do that real-time camera switching, which is very cool. So we could just look at why this is slightly transparent here. Could be my key. It doesn't, that looks nice and clean. So it might be my overlay. Something to do with where I'm putting it all together in my transform pass. Let's look down here. So you can see even in editor the comp shot is a little bit transparent. So is this because it's behind, like, it's in front of a mask actor, isn't it? So because this isn't being masked by this, we can kind of rearrange the transform pass for that. Interesting that it's only kind of masking it somewhat. You would think that this would just be put behind this table totally. It's still got the mask. That's all correct. It's got to be in here somewhere. So I guess I can kind of key this here to preview it. So like if I take this away, what happens? You know, that's doing that. So surely it's something to do with the mask. I don't know why it's like semi-transparent. The semi-transparent is a weird one. What I would probably do just to fix this, like off the bat, would be, because this isn't even behind this table. I mean, we could even redesign the level so that the table does go in front of him and see if that fixes it. That's kind of the power of working in virtual sets. It's like, hey, I can just totally change this set on the fly. Or we could tell this to not, basically not be masked, which I would do by just hooking this up here. And then hooking this over everything. So yeah, that, you know, that does fix it. A little bit weird about that though. That's something I want to look into a bit more. Cool, 2 votes on the source control stuff. Really good, really good. I'm not a massive pro at it, but I can use it now in a way that's really, really useful to me. When it gets to using it for like large teams and things like that, it can get a little hairy, but using it locally just for personal projects is still incredibly useful. So I might just show that side of it, and then maybe we can just like discuss other stuff. That could be cool for next week, definitely. So yeah, as I said, like another little bit weird though, it's kind of still masking it only half when it's in front of the mask. That layering is a bit weird. Very strange. But I guess what we could do is redesign the studio a bit. And you know, just add that to, I've got this like foreground actors. I think it's got that ID, yeah. So if you kind of alt drag that, it will just automatically add to the mask, which is nice. But I think I do just need to refresh it. So foreground, yeah, so it hasn't shown up yet. You might have to just go here and do an exclude, include. Well, okay, so now that's being funny because my shot can see the back of this table at the same time as seeing the front of this table, so it's kind of masking it on and off. But yeah, that's kind of the trickiness with this compositing. Like, you need to keep your foreground and your other elements kind of separate. Maybe this is a better reason for sticking to 2 shots over 3. You know, you got less chance of funniness with masking and things. But I mean that, okay, so that there is some, yeah, there's definitely some difference. That's where the in-game media plate is swapped out for the CG. But yeah, that's just because that table is back there. So like, if this shot was a little lower like that, you know, there's no issues with the masking there. But yeah, that's a different thing to what we're talking about really. Did want to show you kind of, if you did really want to disable these media planes when they're not showing, when they're not, you know, when the camera isn't selected, you can do that through sequencer still. I have been through this in the past live stream when I was doing switching screens, if you had sort of display screens in the background as well. But I can kind of just show you this again because it is useful for this kind of camera 1, camera 2 workflow. So I'm going to go into this multicam thingy. This is where all the multicam assets are going to be. So I wanted to make sure this was actually disabled, so there's no screen input coming in, like the media plate is actually disabled. You can go in here and you can go track this media plane. Oh. Slight crash, sorry about that. Maybe another reason why it doesn't like tracking these media planes. Maybe that's why I wasn't, because this previous technique I was trying, I was getting that level crash when I was trying to start up. Composure being a weird one, but perhaps that's another argument for not even pausing or playing these via sequence. Let's just try it again though. So I'm gonna go, when shot 2 is playing, we want the spaceman to be disabled. We want the other camera input to be disabled. So you can track talent free. And like, you don't really get many options. This is like the stuff I've been scratching my head over for a long time. This is why I got to this just scaling the media plate down solution. Simple, but it works. So you can do a couple things just right off the bat, transform and stuff. But it's quite hard to actually get into Composure stuff in Sequencer. But what you can do is you can track these event triggers, and then you make a keyframe. And once you right click on this and you go in properties, oh, I'm just seeing maybe my stream. Oh no, my stream's right. Cool. So yeah, you can right click on that keyframe, go properties, and here you can actually bind to a lot more events and things. So it's any event. It's actually binding to any event that is present in the actor, in the talent, in the media plate actor. So you got all the stuff that you can do in there. So in theory, you could get a lot more functionality out of this. It's stuff like enable and disable input, which I might actually use. I think what I wanted to do was set opacity though. Is that correct? I think it was. And what that does is once you make that, it actually opens this blueprint that inherits from level sequence director. But I don't really make any edits to this. I just let this just make this blueprint. It's just sort of making this custom event automatically. And so like now that can be triggered. You can do a call-in editor to see like the testing. And there's like your new opacity 0. So you know, you can set that to 100 if you want it on, or set it to 0 if you want it off. So that is now showing up as disabled. So that's sort of how, you know, if you really want to actually disable it in Composure, that's how you would do that through Sequencer. But again, I would try just the transform and scaling to 0 if you can get away with just having all these media feeds coming in, because I came up against some other weirdness that I think perhaps in here. Let's see how it plays. Yeah, so because that's disabled off the bat, you get the kind of test card footage, and what that means is because this disabled texture is coming into the transform pass. So you know it's as if this is just reverted back to nothing, and so that will show up as that kind of test card. But you know, just to show you that you know there's more functionality you can grab here by making these triggers, making a keyframe, just going properties, and you can bind to more Composure stuff, you know, or any more functionality that's in this. Also got this set target camera, which is quite cool. You know, maybe you could have your whole comp change target camera on this. Let's have a look. This one, wasn't it? Properties. Yeah, I've got these 2 cameras. That's interesting. More food for thought with switching cameras there. So I guess, you know, because you got camera control here, but it could be that as soon as you trigger a new level sequence, it just goes to this target camera. Let's just see what happens if I do that. Again, one of the glories of source control, version control. I can just mess about, and I know I've got a save of the project, you know. So what's this sequence? So this is on the 2 key, isn't it? So when I press the 2 key, what it might in theory do is go from this to this, which is interesting. You know, if you wanted to set it up like you had static cameras in very particular locations and you just switch between them, maybe that'll work with this. Oh, no, because I've got that hidden thing. So I just need to delete that, I think. I think I found what it is, something to do with screen sharing in Discord. Because when I'm clicking back in Discord, I get this graphics card crash. Not ideal. Can anyone tell me if the video quality is better in this stream than it was last week? If anyone was here for both of those? Awesome, thanks Top. Thanks Grander. Cool. Well yeah, it's whatever, isn't it? It's at least people have the option of watching on YouTube, which is cool. So found this also kind of annoying about this showing and hiding opacity. It's like once you make this keyframe in the sequencer, you actually lose the ability to edit it in here, which is just like so annoying, very annoying. So I think I have to make another binding before that becomes visible. I guess it's because it's got that it's made that blueprint for it. This is again why it's just like, as much as it's a hilarious solution, just scaling the video plane to 0. It's silly. It's actually less complicated than doing all this stuff. But I thought it's useful to just show that you've got these extra bindings. You know, what was it? Opacity. I thought it was opacity. Oh yeah, it was actually on the Talent 3. Cool. Pretty good on Discord. And you were here last week on both, so you got pretty good quality last week on Discord as well. It's good to know there's not loads of difference, because it's just a bit more stable for me to just stream from camera, virtual camera, I think. So I'm not getting these crashes. So you need to make a keyframe first. Track event trigger, then keyframe it. Then properties, quick bind. This has got opacity. See, only by redoing all of that do I now get the spaceman back and the ability to control this opacity back. And now I can delete that. So strange. But yeah, I hope that's this is definitely a question that a fair few people have been asking for a little while. This how do you do a camera 1, camera 2 with different media inputs? So I hope that covers that. It's as I say, quite a funny solution, but honestly I've been looking at it for a long time, and sometimes simple works, and if you're not losing much frames on having extra media feeds coming in, then why not? I guess if you're doing it with like SDI inputs or something like that, you can just add to this functionality, like enable input or something like that. Is that a thing? You can do something like that. But yeah, pretty much got your camera 1. Oh, I've just messed that up now, have I? It's because I set that target cam, didn't I? In here. yeah, so camera 1 with one talent, camera 2 with another shot. So, you know, then you got the ability to have 2 cameras filming your real life scene, 2 different shots on the same talent, and, you know, a multitude of virtual shots as well. Yeah, I hope that helps. So yeah, chip code to download. There's the link in the description. You can download the project as of last week. So I released a tag for that last week. Let me just show you. How do I go to this video? So yeah, I'm just going to a random past one, but for every video we've got a link here for the GitHub, and all you do is if you read this, you can go to this link, and that will just download the whole zip for you. So we're going to work on like allowing people to clone this, but you can. What we're going to do is just going to put out releases every so often, and yep, you can download that whole zip, download the whole project. Be awesome to see how you get on with it when you jump into it. Thanks, Chipko. If only one could download a whole brain. AI, maybe AI will be on it soon. But yeah, always appreciate your support. It's really nice to have some steam behind this. Yeah, always good to have the support. Just tuning in, but it took me a while to figure out how I can have multiple cams, 3 of which I wanted to be able to fly around and change settings, save them. Well, we do have this awesome guy called Baron who's doing that kind of system. I wonder if I could find the stream where we were talking about it. It's on a past live stream. Should really link to the whole series here. So you wanna kind of fly around, sort of like set your focal length and everything, and then like save all of that, so you know that that's like where you want it to be. Yeah. I mean, what I would do really is just go like sequencer, and just change all the settings in sequencer. So like, you know, you've got your, let's just like check out just the cine camera. You know, you got your aperture, focal length, focus distance, and everything, and like you got aspect ratio, even more things. What I would do is really just make a new sequence, jump into the camera that I want to change, maybe make like a really nice like close kind of focal length kind of thing. Oh, sorry, because I've got some keyframes there already. Let me just delete all the keyframes I've got for it so far. So now I should be able to run around and, yeah, it'll stay there. So yeah, I would look like, I really like a really short focal length kind of shot. That's really nice. You can change some of this stuff in here. So like I tend to zoom in loads and then pull it back a little bit. And then let's try and get some background, something. Obviously, you might have a better level than this, subject matter wise. Let's just like leave it as that. You know, then like bring the manual focus distance down a bit. So you got that really nice like short throw. So like the foreground is in focus, but the background is not. So yeah, say that's what you're after, that's the focal settings you're after. Just keyframe all of that. Also, like if you want to edit more stuff, you could, you know, focus offset. That's, you know, just saying, is it there, is it there? And you can just keyframe that from here. So that will add the focus offset keyframe. So, you know, you could just go back to like there. And you know, that will save that shot. More like a game, so it would save a file. Or save like an external file, because this is, you know, this sequence is a file, you know. You are just making files here by making sequences. You know, I could then literally, you know, we're working in the editor here. It's like, why not use what we've got already, you know? Are you thinking more like on the fly, so like in play mode, that you would be able to do that? Interested to know why, yeah, like why you would do that. You know, definitely interesting. But you know, essentially that, I feel like this is what you're asking to do. You know, you got one camera setting there, another camera setting there, and then, you know, with things like that kind of animation selector blueprint, that's where you can use those files that you've made. You know, you can initialize those. But yeah, like a more on the fly version could be really, really cool. I am looking at talking to this guy Baron, because he does have quite a cool method for it, but it's a bit more experimental. It's like interpolating kind of abstractly in between two camera shots. You can definitely use it for more straight stuff as well. But yeah. Multiple cams. I'm just rereading this. Fly around, change settings, and then save it. Is that like you wanna actually save the shot of me flying around in game camera mode? Okay, very cool, very cool. So while you're live, people can fly around in a kind of like drone state. Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that'd be super fun. So yeah, this is a little bit more of a reason to look at Baron's thingy. So I will check in with him. Let's find the stream where we were talking about this, because it might just be like food for thought for you anyway. I think it was. Can I get to the playlist from here? God, we really need to link these playlists. So it's definitely in the camera switcher. I guess, you know, stream. Maybe I'll have to have a little listen of some of these streams and try and track this down for you, and I'll I'll chuck it. Are you in the Discord, good guy Ghastly? If so, I will chuck it in the Discord chat over here. Oh, I'm gonna crash my. Okay, Discord being annoying. I've had someone else who's had this happen as well. I'll chuck it in the Discord chat anyway. In the Discord, so in our voice channel, in the virtual production voice channel, you can go top right and go show chat, and then can I just quickly show you? So up here, top right, show chat. I'll put it in here, just so it's like part of this stream, you know. Whoa, sorry. So yeah, in our virtual production, you can go to the chat there. I'll paste it there. I'll find the timestamp and paste that for you, because I mean it's not going to get you right there, but it's just this idea that this guy Baron was talking about. And what it was he needs someone to at the moment his is like a combo of Touch Designer and Unreal. So he's sending OSC in from Touch Designer, but he thinks you could totally just instead of sending in the OSC, you could recreate the kind of inputs just in Unreal. But he's got a lot of the meat of the kind of selecting camera angles and flying around and stuff. So yeah, we'll get on with that at some point. That'd be really cool. So Moises, so with this 2-camera setup, you can stream 2 spout files from OBS into Unreal Engine. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm doing here. I'm just using spout at the moment. So yeah, I've just got, these are all just spout inputs. I've actually got 3 going on, and I just found the performance impact was not even too bad. Yeah. If you check the beginning of the stream, I've gone through kind of exactly how I've put this together, and I'll chapter that as well, so it's really clear. But yeah, I found you can just have them all running at once, and you can just scale this media plate to 0 to make it disappear. That's just the solution I found. Receive a spout camera from OBS to Unreal Engine, and then stream the Unreal Engine, the entire stream back to OBS. 100%, yeah, 100%. So quite simple. You can do, there's a few ways to do it, but I would suggest like maybe turning off this default player viewport compositing output, maybe also turning off your runtime viewport rendering, but then you could just go output pass, render target output. Oh, actually, we can do a spout straight out. That's your name there. So output pass OBS, you know. And then in OBS, this should come up already. So yeah, was it filters? Properties. We got that spout output pass OBS. So yeah, that's my whole composited thing. See what happens when we begin play. Oh, maybe not playing on begin play. What if I turn the viewport back on? Yeah. So if I like, let's pop this on the side, should be able to just do all the controls still. Yeah. So I can do my controls and everything, but that's just showing up in OBS instead. Still getting 48 frames per second, not too bad. And yeah, so that's, that's receiving from OBS, compositing in Unreal Engine, sending back to OBS, and then, you could live stream from OBS. Cut the same stream again. Yep, nice. sorry, just press the stop streaming button. We do also do RTMP direct out, so that's useful too. So yeah, that's so if I mean you have OBS open anyway, so I would just think about which is the best, but you can also just do RTMP direct out with our media output. So we take in a render target there, and you can go stream to RTMP and pop your stream URL and stream key in there. So you can also just kind of cut the middleman in that way as well. Lots of options, basically, loads of options. This just takes a render target as well, so I don't know if we do media. Yeah, we don't do an OW media output right off the bat, but you could do a render target out, pick up that render target in the media output, paste that in there, and then pop your stream URL and key in and stuff and press start, and yeah, that'll go. You can also set that to just start on begin play just by like referencing the media output. Awesome. Yeah, nice. Be awesome to see what you get up to, Moises. Can't wait. Really glad to hear you're still poking around, seeing what's going on. I think there's a like activate. Start. Yeah, start target our media output. So you could do that on begin play as well, and then it does stop automatically when you press escape to end kind of play. But yeah, thanks for all the interest, everyone. It's so nice to see people interested in here. I'm gonna shoot, but maybe we'll chat source control and yeah, version control and GitHub and stuff next week. There was something else I wanted to cover, but I can't remember what it was. But if anyone's got any other suggestions, feel free to chuck it in the Discord. Thanks, Chipco, for your interest, as always. Really great. Yeah, yeah, I'll catch you all next week. And also, we've got the more VTuber virtual avatar kind of led stuff on Wednesdays, so don't forget that's on every week at 3 as well. So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out, and yeah, I'm just so happy to see that, you know, this is getting some interest. We're just going to keep updating it, keep sharing our progress, sharing little tips of things people want to do. So it's totally all ears. Let us know what you want. Yeah, thanks so much.